Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Görgött. I've just been on vacation in Sweden, and during that vacation, I went to Stockholm and ate at a restaurant called Sushi Shio. It was one of the best food experiences I've had in my life. It's a Japanese restaurant run by a Swedish guy who's half Japanese, half Swedish. And one of his signature dishes is salmon trout with a soy cured egg yolk, some puffed rice, some spring onion, and some okra. And I really enjoyed that dish, so I'm going to recreate something similar for you now. Now, I'm not using okra because I'm not a big okra fan. I don't think it has a lot of taste in itself. It gives a bit of crunch, but I have the puffed rice for that. But yeah, let's see how it turns out. But before we have a look at the ingredients, as always, if you haven't done so yet, please click the subscribe button. Check the little bell icon to get notifications when new content comes online. It really helps me a lot and kind of shows that there are people out there that enjoy the content I make. So don't forget. Now let's have a look here. I'm not doing it with salmon trout. I have a nice piece of salmon here. We have some spring onions. We have some puffed sushi rice. And we have our soy cured egg yolks. Now you see the rice is already puffed, or popped, or puffed, popped. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean. And the egg yolks are already cured. So let's have a look first at how I cure the egg yolks. Curing egg yolks in soy is really easy, and it's not only in soy, although that's what it's kind of called, but it's a mix of soy and mirin, and it's 2 parts soy to 1 part mirin. So we have our 2 egg yolks here already separated. I will start putting some soy in here. I want them to float a bit, so we'll do 6 tablespoons of soy sauce, and therefore 3 tablespoons of mirin. And now we just cover this and put it in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow morning I will turn them quickly. Really easy, as you can see. It just needs a bit of time in the fridge, but it turns out amazing. And for the rice, this is how you do it. Our pan is nice and hot. We put the sushi rice in, shake it a bit, and it's a bit like popping popcorn. And you'll hear, and you probably even see when they start almost jumping. I don't know if we can zoom in. And then shake it, because you don't want them to burn. Are they ready? We'll take them and put them on a cool plate. Now, if you would look up puffed rice online, there's a couple of ways of doing it. There's ways of doing it with cooked rice. Some people do it in oil, so kind of deep fat fried. As you saw, I just did it in a pan, no oil, nothing. I prefer that way. It doesn't get as big, but on the other hand, it doesn't soak up any oil. It's just crunchy and kind of gives this roasty flavor, and that you don't really get if you deep fat fry it. But you can try both ways. Do it the way you prefer. But now let's do the rest of the prep. We need to chop the shallots and cut up the salmon. Let's start with the shallots. You want them relatively thinly sliced, so kind of try to slice them as thinly as you can. So there we are. And you probably caught on, I think I called this shallots. It's obviously not shallots, as you can see, it's spring onions. So that's how spring onions done. Now for a piece of salmon, I don't want to chop it up, so I'll kind of slice it up this size and then just cut that down. And then try to turn it again and go over it this way. You can make it as fine or as kind of rough as you prefer. I like that there's a little bit of a bite to it. It will take a bit of time, but believe me, it's better hand cut like this than if you would mince it or chop it. So let's do the rest of the salmon. So that's our salmon done as well. And yes, it is a bit of more work than to chop it up, but it's well worth it. It's like with a steak tartare as well. It's nicer if it's kind of hand chopped or hand cut instead of just minced or chopped up. And that's how quick it is. Now we just have to plate it up. All our components ready for assembly. We start with some salmon. There's probably enough salmon for, I would say, about 6 people. On top of the salmon, we put the chives. And now on top of that, we put one of our egg yolks. And last but not least, a bit of the puffed rice. Voila, it's time to dig in. It's a beautiful dish, but you can't eat it with this beauty. You have to get in there, you have to mix it all up. So let's do that. Look how nice and gooey that egg yolk is. Now, I'm not an expert with the chopsticks. That's why I needed to use 2 hands. Mix it up nicely. I'll take some. It's perfect. Now, obviously, salmon is a little bit more flavorful than salmon trout. Salmon trout is more neutral, I would say. But salmon is still very neutral, and I think this works really well. You have that really nice kind of umami flavor of the egg yolk. It goes so well with this. Obviously, I did not create this, so I cannot take any credit. I just changed it a little bit to my liking, but it's a wonderful dish. So again, I'll leave you with that. I'll enjoy the rest with my family. Hope they like it as well. As always, if you liked the episode, please click the thumbs up. And if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button. Also, I would be really happy if you would leave a comment to let me know what you liked, what you maybe didn't like, what you want to see in the future, in terms of food or whatever it is. Just leave a comment. Let me know that you're watching. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.